good morning. Thank you very much for joining us again, Kathy. We're really looking forward to this one. This one's all about looking after ourselves, which is always a fabulous topic.
Absolutely, Tasha, because these times, we forget about ourselves sometimes. So I think this is a really important one that we talk about and sort of get it out there a little bit about it's okay to look after yourself and, take care of yourself in these times. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one too.
And I think particularly for women, I don't know what it is about us as women, but we're just shocking at looking after ourselves first, aren't we? So this is
Aren't we? Yeah, aren't we? We put everybody else first and then we still try and hold everything together.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, so we've got a screen. I'm just going to get the screen going for us. No, it's not. There we go. It'll come up in a second. Just bear with me.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. No, now we've got it on the wrong settings. There we go. All right, is that showing up on your screen now, Kathy?
No, there we go. That's it. Yep, got it.
All right, take it away.
All right, so this one we've called "What About Me," and when I was thinking about this, that song from Shannon Noll, remember a few years ago, "What About Me? It Isn't Fair."
Yeah,
that one. That sort of was playing in my mind as I was thinking about this. Yeah. So it's tricky, isn't it, to take care of ourselves, particularly when we're home with everybody 24/7 in this lockdown situation. So, that's what we're going to explore a little bit this morning. We're going to talk about how we can take care of ourselves while the whole family is at home and while you might be working and, in these crazy times that we have. So let's move on and we'll have a look.
Okay. Did that change?
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Oh, click twice. Sorry, hang on. Let me go back. There we go. Having technical difficulties. There we go.
You are. one of those days. I think all it is, Easter Monday. So I guess that's all right. Do you want to do this, Ben?
Yeah. So we thought it might be helpful for everyone watching the video just to see the qualifications that Kathy has here. So, you've had 35 years experience in the education sector, working with schools and early learning centres and universities, which is a broad scope of the education system.
Yeah.
You've written and published numerous articles for teachers and parents, been featured in the Changemakers book for inspiring women. I'll have to get a hold of that one. That sounds like a great book.
Mm.
So Dr. Kathy is the CEO and founder of Future Strong Education, a global education consultancy business based in Australia. Definitely check out the website. It's got lots of fantastic information on it. She works with teachers, parents and educators from around Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, Asia and Europe, and regularly speaks at conferences and other events by invitation locally, nationally and internationally. And over on the side there you can see all of her qualifications, which looks to me like you've been studying your whole life.
Pretty much. It doesn't stop, does it? We all learn, I think, for our whole lives. We're all learners.
Yeah. The certified money coach ones is interesting too, because you and I did chat about the idea of kids and the mentality that they pick up for money. That'd be a great topic to discuss at some point too.
Yeah, all those belief systems that we set up in our early childhood years, and that's what draws me to that, because it is all about how we work with our children and how that plays out when we're adults.
Exactly. All right.
But today we're not talking. Yeah, all right. Today we're not talking about money. Today we're talking about this crazy world that we're in at the moment. And if you were watching our previous session last week, you would have heard us talking a little bit about this, and it's not new information for you. Obviously, we're all in this together. And we are all housebound and we all have lots of competing issues that we have to deal with. Some of us have our families at home, partners, kids, some of us live with an extended family, so we might have our own parents with us or our grandparents living with us. There might be a range of ages in the family, from babies up to teenagers and, everywhere in between. So with that comes a whole lot of complexities. And usually as the mother and as the woman of the house, we tend to be doing a lot of the nurturing and a lot of the housework duties unless we delegate, and unless we're good at delegating to the other people that are working with us in the household. But that doesn't always happen, does it? And, you know, I speak from experience with that too. I haven't always been good at delegating. I don't know about you, Tash, but, you know, sometimes you tend to just take it all on yourself and just think, oh, it's easier if I just do it myself. But in doing that, we're not looking after ourselves.
Convince myself I'm the only person that can do it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But we're not looking after ourselves if we have those high expectations of what other people should be doing, our expectation of them. You know, and sometimes we have to let go a little bit. And I think in these times, it's something that we need to let go of a little because we can't possibly do everything ourselves and not get burnt out. Some of us are at home working. Some of us are at home homeschooling. We've had a week of the school holidays, give or take, now, and some people have had their children home longer than that. So we've sort of been thrust into this different type of life. And I just want you, when you're watching this video, to take this 30 minutes or so and just really think about you and put you first for a moment. So there's a few ways that I've thought of that, you know, you can do this. And some of this is based on research, some of this is through experience, and some of this is just from speaking to a range of parents that I've worked with over the years, and teachers as well that I've worked with. So if we can go to the next one, please, Tash. So thinking about the type of language that we use, and we touched on this last week when we spoke about this, but I want to reiterate it. So if you watched last week's and you're hearing this again, the message is still the same. We tend to forget this. We tend to, you know, think of the negative. That's our default, by the way. That's our default thinking, is to the negative, because most of our initial thoughts are born in our brainstem, which is at the top of our spine here and at the base of our skull, so it's sort of in that neck area. That's where the brainstem is. Now, the brainstem is the part of the brain that is all about survival. So back in the caveman days, they would always think of the worst possible scenario. So, you know, if they were walking out somewhere looking for food, they would be on high alert the whole time, because there's a chance they could get killed by the saber-toothed tiger. So they were on high alert the whole time. So their default is there could be a tiger. It's the negative. It's not like, oh, look at the beautiful trees and look at the sky and let's just go for a walk and I'll find some food. But that's not the default behavior when you're a caveman. And it's the same sort of thing now. Our brains go to negative as the default. So in this situation, it could be our thoughts running to, oh, we're all going to get sick. Oh, I better be careful. Oh, I've got a bit of a cough. I'm probably getting the virus. You know, that's how our brains go automatically without us even thinking about it. It's all a subconscious thing. And it's because of the survival nature that we have back in this brainstem here. So we have to change those thoughts. We have to consciously practice and change those thoughts and think the positive. So, no, I've been sanitizing my hands. Our household has remained in isolation. I haven't been mixing with other people. I've been really careful. So we're probably going to be fine. So it's that thinking and saying that to yourself and changing that thinking. Part of that is changing the language that we use too. So most of us now are saying, take care, stay well, stay safe, stay healthy. That gives us the idea that perhaps you won't stay healthy, perhaps you won't be well, perhaps you'll be sick. So it takes our mind to the negative, which is, remember, that's our default. So again, it's a conscious decision. Start putting normal back into our lives. So have a good day, have fun, see you later. Those sorts of comments that we would normally make. So let's go back to being normal, not being highly sensitive about being well. And that changes our whole thinking, and that changes that whole default. Sometimes, though, it needs to be a conscious decision that we're making when we catch ourselves going to the negative, start practicing going to the positive. The media, of course, every time you turn the TV on or open up your phone or computer, whatever it might be, there's some sort of thing on the media about the coronavirus. absolutely we have to stay informed, and absolutely we need to know what's going on. But, you know, not everything that you hear is 100% accurate. So it's about having a bit of a filter and being discerning about what you're listening to. Now, if you want to have something that's easy listening, go to Norman Swan's podcast, and I've got the link there for you. He gives factual information around the coronavirus, but he also answers questions that children pose. So there's lots of children's questions that are on there. So one of them that I was reading just this morning was about do animals spread the virus? And he's answered that in a simple way for children, excuse me, for all of us. But it's in it's a factual way. It's not a scary way.
Oh, so that's a great link. Yeah, I'll make sure I share that in the platform as well.
Yeah. Have a little look and see what you think. So that's the first one. Language. Think about the language you're using and think about that default language that you automatically go to.
Yeah.
So the second one is go outside as much as you can. So we all have this thing in our brains called the circadian rhythm, and that tells our bodies when it's time to wake up and when it's time to go to sleep. So it regulates our light and dark. So to be outside means that we're actually exposing ourselves to good light, and that's going to help us sleep better. When the lights go out and it becomes dark at night, we'll be able to sleep better because our brain will be in that rhythm. So that's an important thing, to be outside. Also, being outside, of course, in the sunshine generates vitamin D into our bodies, and that helps build our immune system. Being outside sort of changes the whole feel too, the whole dynamics, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, when you've been stuck inside all the time and you go outside, it just feels so good. And that's because our brain, again, is stimulated, and our brain releases endorphin hormones, and they're the happy hormones in our brain that makes us feel good. That's the same for us as adults as it is for children. So, you know, we need to do those things too.
Absolutely.
Being outside improves our vision because of the light and the way that it affects your occipital lobe at the back of your head here. It changes our behaviour. We become lighter. And it just is better for our health in general to be outside and be grounded to Mother Earth, basically, to have our feet on the ground and be grounded. So something else to think about. Go outside, have breaks during the day and go outside as much as you can.
Excellent.
Now this one you might find interesting. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a croaky throat this morning. Must be all those Easter eggs, I think.
Yeah, true.
So when we look at these feelings, there's been a lot of research about people's emotions. And in the 70s, someone came up with like 6 general emotions. In the 80s, someone expanded that to the 8 general emotions that we all feel, that all humans feel. And there's an overlapping of emotions that create 27 of these 8. There's about 27 other emotions that they've labelled, and it's really just a mixture of all the different emotions that humans feel. So it's quite interesting. So the most used emotions are the main emotions are ecstasy, so extreme happiness, admiration, so being happy with somebody, fear, amazement or surprise, grief, loathing, so that's really strong disliking something or someone, rage, total anger, and vigilant, so you're always watching. So they're the general emotions, and now there's a mixture of those that we tend to feel around this time in particular. So I've heard a lot of people talking about feeling anxious or feeling burdened, like a cloud is hanging over them, or they have a lot of fear. Some people are just feeling bored, and with that boredom enters depression. Some people are quite frustrated because they can't go out and they can't do things, and life is different, and income is different, and job situations is different, the children are all home, and life isn't normal. So they're quite frustrated by that. And that breeds then a bit of worry, like what's the future going to hold? What am I going to do with this? How is this going to work? Some people I've spoken to have also been quite joyful because they're home all the time and they're quite happy with that. They like that. Some people are quite relaxed about it all because they don't have to go out. They can just be. They can watch Netflix all day if they want. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do whatever they like. And some people go between all of those emotions. So I bring you this so that you acknowledge your feelings, because it's a really important thing to actually acknowledge how you feel and just sit and be with yourself and just think, okay, how am I feeling? Because things are different. Once we acknowledge our feelings, then we can start to do something about them if we need to. So if we notice that we're starting to just be sad a lot, well, then we can start looking at that and start putting things in place, you know, maybe changing the environment slightly, being outside more, putting on some music, you know, doing some different things to try and lift you out of that emotion. So there's some physiological and behavioural responses when we have some of these emotions, and it's all connected with our heart rate, the electrical impulses in our brain, our breathing. So we could become, you know, quite short of breath, or take shallow breaths, our heart could palpitate, we could get a little bit nervous, our hands might shake. So there are some physiological, some body responses, as well as some behavioural responses. So we might be irritated and grumpy with people and snappy, and we might feel like that, or we might just be really relaxed and calm and laughing and be really jovial. It doesn't matter what the emotion is that you're feeling. What matters is that you acknowledge it and you go, okay, yeah, I'm not quite feeling right today. What is this? Let's tap in and just work it out. What is this? How am I feeling? What is this? And just be with yourself. And once you be with yourself, acknowledge the feelings and label it, put a name to it. Then you can start to think, well, what's caused this? What am I going to change so that I can snap myself out of this?
And I think being okay with it, that for me, you know, I can get I tend to be a fairly bubbly, upbeat person, and when I'm down, I used to get really angry at myself for that. Whereas in this, everything's so crazy, and if I have down days, I just accept it now and go, okay, that's okay. I'm allowed to, because the whole world's gone crazy at the moment. And if I just want to lay in bed all day and, you know, I'm not going to be super productive, that's okay too. It's, you know, acknowledge it. And like you said, if you recognize that it's dragging you down, then you start to change things. But there's other days that maybe it's fine to just go, right, today off. It's just going to be crappy all day today. That's okay.
Yeah. I agree, Tash, and I've done exactly the same things. You know, I'm usually pretty calm, relaxed, and fairly, you know, easygoing. But I've had the same thing. I've had a bit of a plummet here and there, and that's okay. And it is that acknowledgement and going, you know what, I don't have to be superwoman every single day of my life.
Exactly.
I can actually have a day where I'm not feeling fantastic, and that's okay. So it's about releasing that guilt as well, that, you know, and as mothers and parents, and even just women, we don't always do that very well. We tend to take it all on board and think that we need to cope, we need to manage, we need to be doing things. But you know what? If we have a down day and we have a day to ourselves, I call it a goddess day, where I'm just, you know, just all about me for a day, and just to rejuvenate myself. And then you're back on track and you're fine, and then you can take care of the family in a better way, be more effective, and you can take care of the house and whatever it is you need to do.
Instead of crappy.
What's that?
Sorry, I talked over you there because the screen went funny for a moment, but I was saying I will definitely be reframing what I call crappy days as goddess days now. I like that.
Goddess days, yeah, absolutely. We all need to have a goddess day, and even, you know, when things go back to normal, if they ever go anywhere near being back to normal, hang on to that goddess day.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a day where you're feeling down and you're bringing yourself back up. You can just have a goddess day. Just have a day that's all about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, there's a difference between mood and emotions. I'll just go back, Tash.
Sorry.
The difference between mood and emotions. So emotions are something that are usually stimulated by something. So you have an argument with somebody, so you feel angry or you feel frustrated. That's an emotion. A mood is something that's longer term, and a mood is something that we need to shift as well. So doing some of the strategies that we're going to go on to now will help shift those moods as well. But the main thing here is to acknowledge how you're feeling and think that's okay. No guilt. It's a guilt-free zone when you're acknowledging your emotions.
Yeah. Did that change for you?
There we go. Having trouble with the internet. Everybody must be on Zoom.
I know, it's all a bit staccato today, but hopefully it's recording fine.
Yeah, hopefully. Human beings are social beings. All of the researchers and all of the child development and long-term, lifelong developmental researchers all say the same thing, that human beings are social beings. Because we're social, in this particular situation that we find ourselves in, it's even more important for us to reach out and connect with people. So if you're living on your own, or if you're living just with your own small family group, or however you're living, it's really important that you reach out to other people that maybe are not in your household. And you can do that by, you know, lots of ways. There's phone calls, there's text messages, there's email, Facebook, Instagram. You can write a letter. I mean, if we still remember how to do that, we could actually write a letter. How exciting would that be, to get a letter in the mail?
I don't really even remember how to get a stamp these days.
Well, that too. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, do things like that, or write something positive and put outside your house to give your neighbours a bit of a chuckle, and, you know, get a little bit of, you know, written sign work going on up and down your street. That'd be fun too. So the main thing is, though, to remember that we are social, and not to isolate yourself, and not to sort of think, oh, well, this whole social isolation means I can't talk to anyone. That's not what it means. It means you can't be near somebody. It's physical isolation or physical distancing. I call it physical distancing. I don't call it social distancing.
No.
Because we don't want that. We don't want social distancing. Physical, sure. I had a couple of my children over last night for an Easter dinner, and we observed physical distancing, not social distancing, physical. We sat out in the yard, and we had our chairs placed, you know, 1.5 to 2 meters apart, and we had like a central table that we could go get food from, but we sat apart because, and here, you know, we can have 2 people over that are part of our family, and that's okay. That's within the rules. So that's what we did. But it's important that we have that interaction and we have that socialization. That's really important. So don't forget that. It's physical distancing, not social distancing.
Even on Saturday night, my family, my brother and his kids, we set up just FaceTime on a laptop, and we sat outside. We both made campfires, and we played games. We played Uno, or we played trivia games, everything and honestly, it's not that much different, because we always camp at Easter time, so we're all missing our tradition. But it wasn't that much different to what it would have been if we'd been camping anyway. We all just got to sleep in a comfortable bed that night.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a few people in my neighbourhood that did the same thing, because I could smell a lot of fire around the place. So great ideas, you know, to be able to connect still via the internet, and have that social interaction, even though we're not physically together.
And how lucky are we that whilst this is terrible that's happened, it's happened in an era when we have such technology that we can stay in touch. I mean,
absolutely.
If it happened 30 years ago, we'd been a lot worse off.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're up to number 5 now, and again, putting things into perspective. Think about what you can control and what you can't. And let go of what you can't control. So you can't control other people, basically. Other people's thoughts, other people's actions, whatever somebody else does isn't any of your business, to be honest. But you can control the words you use. We've talked about that. We've talked about your actions, your behaviour. You can control your own attitude about how things are, the amount of effort you put in to sort of, you know, keep things rolling in your household and keep yourself safe and happy. You can control your decisions, your own body language, your thoughts, your feelings, reactions, your ideas. You can control lots of things. Okay, we can't control when we can go on a plane, or we can't control when we can cross the border. We can't control when we can, hug somebody outside of our own house. But there's lots of things that we can control. So again, it's that mental resilience that we're putting in place here, not thinking of the negative, but thinking of the positive. Think about the family schedule that you might put in place, and get your routine happening. Do some menus with the children, and make meal menus and make it sort of exciting and interesting that everybody gets to choose a menu and maybe a meal in the week, and then that person is the one that helps to prepare that. You can control those sorts of things. The types of things that you do, either outside or inside. If you've got a backyard and you're able to go outside, or even if you've got a balcony, if you're living in an apartment, the types of activities that you could do just out on that balcony. Do some drawing, do some, some charades, like go back to old school and start thinking of the things that we used to do when we were children. And you can also control the amount of time that you work and when you work in the day. If you're working from home, when do you choose to do your work time? You can also choose and control the amount of screen time that we all have, and modelling good behaviours with screen time is a really important thing as well. So, screens can become addictive, as particularly in this time that we're in, because you think, well, what else have I got to do? That's the way I'm connecting with the world. But try not to get too dependent on the screens, because that's what we're modelling to our children then, that everything revolves around this screen. The screens are the most important thing, and it's not actually the case. So think about what you can control and don't worry about what you can't control.
Yeah.
And this last one is try to be calm. I'm going to show you hand breathing. And you may already know about hand breathing. These are some of the strategies that I put in place with some of my clients that I coach. And they find it really, really helpful. So hand breathing is really just using your hand. And you take a breath in, so you trace it with your other finger, so it's a touchy thing, it's a feely thing as you go up and down your fingers. But as you go up, and I'll get everybody to do it with me. So when we do this, we're going to breathe in for 3 seconds, and we're going to go up our finger. And as we go up our finger, in our head, our thumb, in our head, we're going to say something positive. So I often do this when I'm going to do a presentation at like a big conference or something, and I'm a little bit nervous. Yeah. I'll do something like this. So as I breathe in my head, I'm saying, I am confident. And then at the top, I will hold it for 3 seconds, and down the other side for 3 seconds, I will say, I am knowledgeable, as I go down. And then I sit for 3 seconds, and then I go up again, and I might say, I am capable, and then I sit for 3, and then I go down for 3, I am competent, and go down for 3. So you might say, I am calm, I am peaceful, I am happy, I am resilient. You might say things like that. But let's just have a try and think about some things in your own head that you want to promote, things that will help you feel calm. So ready, we're going to breathe in for 3 seconds. Ready, go. Breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. And down the other side. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. Next one. Up. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. Down. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. And you keep going across your whole hand.
Yeah, that's quite effective.
Yeah, it really calms you, and it's putting those positive thoughts into your mind. So it's a really calm one, and it's one that you can do anytime. You can be sitting outside, you can be sitting watching TV, or look like you're watching TV, but you can actually be doing this. And the idea is that you are touching yourself as well, so you have that skin-to-skin contact, and that's quite soothing and calming too, to do that.
The tactile feeling of it sort of makes you focus more into yourself. I like it.
Yeah, totally. Grounding yourself. So going outside, taking your shoes off and just standing on the ground. looking at the trees and grounding yourself with Mother Earth, and just feeling that energy and feeling that joy that comes from being outside and putting your feet on the ground. If that's not possible, if you're inside and you're in an apartment building, or you can't go outside for some reason, it's all right. Just take your shoes off and put your feet on the ground and do the same thing. And the energy will still come through to you if you have that intention. Having a bird's eye view. A bird's eye view, now this is an interesting one, and this is one that takes a little bit of practice. If you can imagine yourself flying above the earth and looking down on your house and the people in your house and the people in your neighbourhood and the community in general, it takes that, it gives a different perspective. It takes a lot of the emotion out of maybe what you're feeling in your environment now, because it's a bird's eye view. And you're watching all of these little things go on. It's like all of these actors in a play. They're all moving and interacting with each other, or it could be like little ants scurrying around. But because you're up here, you feel as though you're not in it. And that helps to remove any anxiety, remove any energy around the situation you might be in, because you set yourself up here and you take yourself out of the situation and look down on the situation. That takes a little bit of practice, but once you've sort of worked that out and you can do that, and a lot of my clients have done that now, and they often say if they're in a work situation that they went to the bird's eye view and it made things, put things into perspective, and it wasn't such a big deal after all. The other thing you might want to do is, oh gosh, excuse me. The other thing you might want to do is nothing. Just do nothing. It's okay, we've got plenty of time.
Yeah.
So take some time and do nothing, or read a book, or just stare into space for a while, or that last one there, go and lie outside on the grass, or on the balcony, or wherever you can get at, or even on your bed if you can look out and you can see the sky, and look at the clouds, and make find pictures in the clouds, like we probably used to do when we were children. So linking back to the things that you used to do in your childhood, so that you become a little grounded, and it takes away a lot of the worry and the anxiety if that's what you're feeling around this time. The other thing, the massage train is a really nice one that you can do with your family. So you all sit in a line, and you sit in between the other person's legs. The person behind you sit behind, between their legs, or they can have their legs crossed, or sit up on their legs, whatever they want to do. And they massage you. So you massage the person in front, and so you massage their shoulders, up their neck and down their back, and you do that. Then you flip around and you do it the other way, so that everybody gets a massage. But in these times too, it's important for us to have that physical contact, that skin to skin contact, and it's a fun thing, and it actually feels really good. We can't get out now and have the massage, or do those sort of nice things that we might do or might want to do for ourselves as women, but we can do it in our family environment if you're home all the time with your family. So there are 6 things for you to have a bit of a think about, and just reflect on and work them into your own situation, your own context, over these next, I don't know, however long. But remember that your emotions, the big one here is your emotions are okay. A range of emotions are okay, but to acknowledge them, and to have some sort of structure and schedule for your day, and that it's okay to feel however you're feeling, and try and get outside as much as you can. So if you want to know more, come find me at my website, and I've got some blogs on there that you might be interested in, and a whole range of other things that you can have a bit of a look at as well. Thanks, Tash.
Oh, thank you. No, that was really, really good. I'm just going to stop the screen sharing, but yeah, I think that had a lot of really, really easy to follow information there for people. So, and just having that, maybe trying to change the mindset that we've been given a bit of a blessing in some ways with this lockdown. I mean, I know a lot of people are suffering really badly for it, and I don't want to sound glib, but if you can see it as an opportunity that we all get to be with our loved ones more, it's quite an incredible blessing, really.
Yeah, that's right. And there is two ways of looking at it. You know, I'm seeing it as a blessing because I've got time that I can complete things that I've been wanting to complete for a while, and I don't get to see all of my family, but like close. But I do have a couple of them living with me, which is really nice, and we've developed a different bond. It's not, as you said, it's not to ignore or not acknowledge the difficulties that does happen. I mean, it's not all fun and games. There are some difficulties, and people are in different situations, and certainly not to minimise any of that. But if we can change our mindset a little bit and maybe try and see some of the positives, that helps, because this might go on for a while. So if we start with that whole negative treadmill, it could be psychologically not good for any of us. So we need to take care of our mental health and our physical health as well.
Exactly. Thank you, and thank you so much for giving us some tips on how to do that. It's been really helpful.
You're welcome.
Thank you.